Welcome to an episode of Cooking with the Family. Today we're going to cook some homemade French bread to go with our shrimp po' boys, Cajun style. Me and my wife went there last year to New Orleans and fell in love with the food. So today I'm going to attempt to make po' boys from scratch. First off, what you'll need is 5 cups of King Arthur's bread flour, two tablespoons of sugar divided, 2 tablespoons of yeast, a tablespoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2 cups of lukewarm water. First thing we're going to do is put our lukewarm water into the bowl, and we're going to sprinkle the warm water with our yeast, our active yeast. And what we're going to do is we're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes and let it get frothy. We're going to set the timer for 15 minutes and we'll get back with you when it's ready. Okay, it's been 15 minutes and the yeast is frothy. We also added the 1 tablespoon of sugar. Now that it's been 15 minutes and the mixture is frothy, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. The other tablespoon of sugar, tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Get all that out of there. And the 5 cups of bread flour, King Arthur's bread flour. We're gonna mix this in the bowl together with a spatula. You just want to fold it. You don't want to overwork your dough. So, into a shaggy dough like. And remember, we're going to put this on a mixer with the hook mixer. All right. That's shaggy. I say that's shaggy. Get that off of there. Get off all the shag. Alright. And we're going to put this on a mixer. We're going to put this on medium speed for about 8 minutes. Until the dough is pulling away from the bowl and the hook. It's a clean scoop, should I say. So we're gonna set this on here. Let this down. Lock it in place. Turn it on, start off slow. We're gonna take it to medium. For about 8 minutes. And if your dough seems a little too sticky, just add a little more flour to it. Let's see, it's pulling away pretty good. Let's see. And also you want to flour your work area as you go so it don't get sticky. Alright. Also, we're going to need some peanut spray. Alright, that dough's good. I say it's good. It's pulling away. Let's take this hook off. Put it in there. Alright. So that's good. And I need some plastic wrap. Because we're going to wrap this dough so that it can expand and do its thing. Alright. And we're going to knead it for about 2 minutes. Or not even 2 minutes. Just get a good working of it. You don't want to overwork your bread. So we're going to lightly coat us a pan to put the dough in so that the dough can rest for an hour, hour and a half. So got your Pam spray. Lightly coated. That's my white coat. So right. And as I knead the bread, the dough, for a minute, we're gonna sit it in here. And we're gonna let that sit for an hour, hour and a half, let it expand. And then we're gonna deflate it and do it all over again. But we'll be back at you when this is ready to go.
When it's fluffy.
When it's fluffed. Okay, our dough has been resting for an hour and a half now. While that was resting, I went ahead and prepared 2 pans. This dough is enough to make 4 loaves of French bread. But I Pam sprayed the pan and lined it with parchment paper. And then I dusted it with some cornmeal for the bread. I used about a half a cup, not even a whole half a cup for each pan. And then I also prepared 2 plastic wraps, sprayed it with Pam spray. So while this bread is, because it's gonna sit for another hour, and while it's sitting, the moisture from the butter wrapped up with the plastic wrap will help the dough stay nice and fresh. So we're gonna pour this out onto a flour dusted board, lightly floured. All right. Make sure everything good so that we don't stick to the board. All right. We're gonna cut this into 4s after we deflate it. And we're going to do that by folding it. We don't want to overwork it, but work it enough to where, you know, it's nice and even. So now, it's nice and even. I don't know, I dust my knife too, weird. But I'm gonna cut it into 4s. Cut that all the way through. Cut that. Cut that. All right. So while these are sitting here waiting, I'm gonna spray the wrapper that was over the bowl and cover that so those won't dry out and stay nice and moist while I work this dough here. So what you want to do is make pretty much a rectangle with it. Let's see, add a little flour to it. Hold on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pre-shape the dough so when it's sitting and when it's ready to be stretched out and shaped again, it'll be pre-ready, I guess.
It'll be ready.
Mm-hmm. It's almost a little.
Right where you want. I always find it so cool. When stuff like that turns into what it does.
Yeah.
And you said these rest for.
This is gonna rest for another hour under the wrapped saran, well, the buttered wrap. But we're pre-molding it so that it'll be easier to mold when it's time to mold it all the way. Little baguette loaves. Alright. And then wrap that. And like I said, these are gonna sit under the saran wrap for another hour to poof up and get ready. All right. Sit that there. Here's our saran wrap. Set that timer for an hour for me, honey. Thank you. Cover it up. And another waiting game, guys. We'll be right back in an hour. Hope to see you there. Okay, now that's been sitting for an hour. Let's unwrap it. And see how that rolls up again? So now it's gonna be pretty easy to stretch and shape it, hopefully. I'll cover this while I get this one ready. Flour my board. And now we just want to form the baguette. My board is moving with me, so that don't help it. All right. So we're gonna lay this one on the cornmeal base on the pan. Sorry. And we need to cover that up too so that won't dry out. And what I'll do is I'll take this one here and fold this over and cover it up, keep it moist. And like I said, you just dust your board as much as you need it for your bread so it won't stick. And this is French bread. All right, got that one done. Now we'll get the other one and we'll work that one as well. You want a nice even roll. So, you know, so your bread won't look so crazy. All right, got that one in there. Now we got the last one. And while I'm rolling this last one out, we're gonna take this wrapper and put it over this bread here. By the way, I presetted my oven to 375 before we started rolling, so always preheat your oven to 375. And we're gonna cook this for about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. And we're gonna rotate them inside the oven. So we'll take the bottom rack off the first 15 minutes and put it on top rack, and put the top rack on the bottom rack for the last 15 minutes. Even cook. All right, got that done. So, I don't want a baguette look, like a round look. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take my plastic wrap and I'm gonna cover this bread back up, this dough back up. What I'm gonna do is, I want a flatter look to my bread. So I'm gonna take this pan and slightly press down on that so it can look flat. Lift that off. And then we're gonna make our bread cuts. And what I like to do is I give a little of that on top of there, the little cornmeal crust, put that on top of there. Cover that back up. And then do the same to this one. Take it, flatten it down, just a little, not too much. Take your saran wrap, pull it over, take your knife, make your slices. And like I said, this is gonna go in the oven at 375 for 25 to 30 minutes. All right. I'm gonna go stick these in the oven, and when these are done, I'll be back, guys. Okay, guys, I forgot to tell you, before you put your bread into the oven, you wanna make an egg wash to brush your bread with, so the golden brown can be on there. And all that is 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water, whisk it together, and just brush it on top. And this is the end product after 30 minutes in the oven. Fresh French baguettes. And we're gonna be making po' boy sandwiches with these, y'all. Stay tuned. We'll be back at it. Cooking with the family.
That's right.